The neighbor came out in her single father's bathrobe and said, "It's time to stop pretending." The front door swung open, and every conversation in the hallway suddenly went silent. Standing there was Mara Whitmore, the quiet woman from next door. Her dark hair was still damp, and she was wearing a large blue bathrobe that everyone in the apartment building recognized immediately. It belonged to Elias Carter, the widowed single father. The man everyone believed had spent the last 5 years living only for his little daughter. Mara looked at the shocked faces gathering in the hallway, then looked at Elias standing behind her, pale and speechless. A sad smile appeared on her face. Then she said the words that changed everything. "It's time to stop pretending." Before we continue, if you believe in kindness and second chances, please like this video, share it with someone you love, and subscribe to Kindness Paradise. Also, tell us in the comments, do you believe people deserve a second chance after heartbreak? The morning had begun like every other morning. Sunlight poured through the windows of Elias's small apartment while he prepared pancakes for his 7-year-old daughter, Nora. Since losing his wife to illness 5 years earlier, he had become both mother and father to the little girl. Life had not been easy. He worked long hours repairing air conditioners and spent every spare minute taking care of Nora. There was never enough money, never enough time, and certainly never enough energy. But he never complained. To Nora, he was a superhero. To the neighbors, he was simply the quiet man who carried too much sadness in his eyes. Then, 6 months earlier, Mara had moved into the apartment next door. She was different from everyone else. She didn't ask questions about Elias's past. She didn't pity him. She simply smiled every morning and occasionally brought cookies for Nora. Slowly, without anyone noticing, she became part of their little world. Nora adored her. Sometimes the little girl would sit in Mara's apartment and paint pictures while Elias worked late. For the first time in years, laughter had returned to their hallway. But not everyone liked it. Mrs. Benton, the building's gossip queen, had already decided that Elias and Mara were secretly dating. Rumors spread quickly. Some people whispered that a single father shouldn't move on so quickly. Others said Mara was trying to replace Nora's mother. The gossip hurt Elias deeply, so he kept his distance. Whenever anyone asked about Mara, he would simply say they were neighbors and nothing more. Even though, deep inside, his feelings had begun to change. Then came the rainy Thursday morning. Nora woke up with a high fever. Elias panicked. He had an important job that day and couldn't afford to miss work. Without hesitation, Mara offered to stay with Nora. All day she cared for the little girl, reading stories and placing cold towels on her forehead. By evening, Nora's fever had worsened. A terrible storm had begun outside. The electricity went out. Mara called Elias, and he rushed home. Together they took Nora to the emergency clinic. Hours later, they returned exhausted but relieved. Nora was finally sleeping peacefully. Mara was soaked from the rain and shivering. Elias handed her a towel and his late wife's old bathrobe while her clothes dried. Neither of them thought anything of it. Until the next morning. As Mara stepped into the hallway to return to her apartment, Mrs. Benton happened to be standing there with 2 other neighbors. The entire hallway froze. The gossip spread through the building in minutes. People stared, whispered, judged. Elias felt anger and embarrassment burning inside him. Then Mara stepped forward and said quietly, "It's time to stop pretending." Everyone looked confused. She turned toward Elias. Her eyes filled with tears. For months, she had pretended not to care about him. Pretended she didn't worry when he worked late. Pretended she didn't love the little girl who had become like family to her. And most of all, she had pretended not to love the man standing in front of her. She said that people could gossip all they wanted, but she was tired of hiding her feelings simply because others believed a widowed father didn't deserve happiness again. The hallway became completely silent. Elias couldn't speak. For years, he had convinced himself that loving someone again would somehow betray the memory of his wife. He had buried every feeling beneath responsibility and grief. Then little Nora appeared at the apartment door, holding her stuffed rabbit. She looked at the adults and then at Mara. The little girl smiled. Then she softly asked why everyone looked sad. Nobody answered. Nora simply walked over and held Mara's hand. Then she looked at her father. And in the innocent way only children can, she said that her mother would want them to be happy. Those words broke something inside Elias. Tears filled his eyes. because he realized that his daughter had been waiting for him to live again, to smile again, to stop carrying his grief like a punishment. He slowly walked toward Mara. The neighbors watched in complete silence. For the first time in 5 years, Elias allowed himself to imagine a future that wasn't filled only with loneliness. He thanked Mara for loving his daughter, for standing beside them, for bringing light back into their home. And though he wasn't ready to make promises, he admitted that he was tired of pretending too. Mrs. Benton lowered her eyes. The other neighbors quietly walked away, because sometimes people judge stories they know nothing about. That evening, the three of them ate dinner together. Nothing magical happened. No grand declarations. No dramatic ending. Just three people sitting around a small kitchen table, laughing while Nora tried to make a pancake shaped like a rabbit. And somehow, that simple moment felt like the beginning of a new life. Months later, the building no longer whispered. Instead, neighbors smiled when they saw Elias, Nora, and Mara walking together. The man who thought his heart had died with his wife had discovered something beautiful. Love doesn't replace the people we lose. It simply teaches us that our hearts still have room for hope. And sometimes, happiness arrives quietly, wearing an old blue bathrobe. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Kindness Paradise for more emotional stories of love and second chances. Special request, comment below with one word, hope, if you believe every broken heart deserves another chance to love. Because sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is stop pretending and allow happiness to walk through the door once again.